For 15 years, my husband handled every dollar we ever earned. My paychecks, our savings, even the money meant for our kids. He said it was easier that way. But when he cut off my allowance completely, I knew something was wrong. And when I finally found the one secret account he thought I'd never discover, that account didn't just expose him, it destroyed everything he built. You ever look back at your life and realize the exact moment everything started cracking? Yeah, for me, it was the day I handed Mark control of every dollar we ever earned. At the time, it didn't feel like giving up power, it felt like trust. 15 years of marriage, 2 kids, a home we built from nothing. Trusting him felt natural. Safe. Or at least, that's what I told myself. Mark loved being the numbers guy. Taxes, budgeting, savings. He handled it all with this smug confidence, like he was doing us some big favor. Babe, finances stress you out, let me take care of you. Back then, it sounded sweet. Now it sounds like the first lock clicking shut. He started giving me an allowance, and I swallowed it, told myself it was simpler, that he was better with money. Honestly, part of me believed him. And that's the part that scares me the most. But the little red flags, they'd been there for years, like the time he joked that I'd be dangerous with my own credit card. Or how he insisted my job was just for fun money, even though it helped cover bills. Or the way he'd check grocery receipts like I was shoplifting from our own fridge. Still, I ignored it, because when you're married with kids, sometimes it's easier to doubt yourself than doubt your partner. Then came the humiliation, the moment I'll never forget. I was at a coffee shop after dropping the kids off, just needed 5 minutes to breathe. I ordered a latte, swiped my card, and it declined, twice. The cashier gave me that polite but judgy smile. People behind me stared, and I wanted to sink into the damn floor. When I told Mark, hoping he'd say it was some mistake, he just shrugged. Maybe stop buying unnecessary stuff. Unnecessary? A $5 coffee? That was the moment the pit in my stomach turned into something sharp. Then, one morning, no warning, no conversation, he stopped my allowance altogether. Just tossed out a cold line before leaving for work. We need to tighten up. Don't spend unless you have to. But nothing in our life had changed. Bills weren't behind. The kids were fine. My job was steady. So why did this feel like punishment? That night, while he showered, his phone lit up nonstop. A name I didn't recognize. And the last message, "Did you move at all? Did she notice?" My whole body went cold. I couldn't shake that text message. It sat in my mind like a weight pressing on my chest. Did you move at all? Did she notice? I barely slept. Meanwhile, Mark snored beside me, loud, peaceful, like a man with nothing to hide. And that contrast? That hurt more than the message itself. The next morning, he stomped around the kitchen like everything I did was an inconvenience. When I asked if you could transfer money for groceries, he didn't even look at me. Figure it out. You're a grown woman, aren't you? The words stung, not just because they were cruel, but because for the first time, I felt genuinely scared of him. I didn't recognize this man, and worse, I didn't recognize who I was around him anymore. I felt like a guest in my own damn life. His behavior kept shifting. Longer nights out, shorter temper, more secrets, and then there was the smell. One evening when he came home late, he brushed past me and the scent hit. Cheap hotel soap. Not ours, not anything in our bathroom. My stomach dropped. That smell didn't belong to our house or to our marriage. He started guarding his phone like it was nuclear launch codes. Even took it into the shower, something he never used to do. And his laptop? Locked. He'd never locked a device in 15 years. Then the bills started piling up. I found a past due electricity bill shoved behind the coaster. My hands shook as I held it. Mark was obsessed with paying things early. For control, for pride, for image. So why was everything falling apart? One afternoon, I tried to buy groceries. Cereal, snacks, simple stuff. The card declined. Again. My kid looked up at me confused. And for a moment, I felt like the floor disappeared beneath me. When I told Mark, he barely glanced up. Maybe stop spending like an idiot. Idiot! That one word burned through my chest. But something inside me shifted that day. I wasn't just hurt or scared anymore. I was alert. Watching him the way he watched every dollar I spent. That night, while folding laundry, I heard him in the hallway, voice low, whispered, tense. Through the tiny crack in door, I caught one line. She's getting suspicious. Just stick to the plan. I leaned in, heart pounding, and then the floorboard beneath me creaked. The second that floorboard creaked, Mark's voice stopped. Dead silent. I held my breath, frozen in place, praying he hadn't heard me. After a few tense seconds, his footsteps moved away from the door, slow, cautious, like he was checking his surroundings. I didn't exhale until I heard the bathroom door shut, but after that night, something in me fully snapped awake. I've been tiptoeing around Mark for months. Now, I started paying attention, watching, listening, storing every detail like evidence. And the very next morning, I caught the first crack in his lies. He walked into the kitchen, tie crooked, eyes tired, shirt half-buttoned. He never looked sloppy, ever. I tried to keep my voice steady, casual. Rough night? He flinched, just for a second, then covered it with a forced smile. Just work stuff. Long meetings. Meetings? At 11 p.m.? Smelling like hotel soap? Lie number 1. Clean, obvious, stupid. The tension between us got thicker. Small clashes turned into sharp arguments. He'd snap over nothing, then act like it was my fault for pushing his buttons. But I kept quiet, watched, collected. That week, something strange happened. I got a notification from our old shared banking app, one I thought he stopped using. It showed a withdrawal, $600 from an ATM across town. Same day he claimed he was working late. I stared at the screen, chills crawling over my spine. I knew that area. A cheap Notel sat right across from that ATM. I didn't say a word, not yet. But the universe wasn't done throwing clues at me. 2 days later, I was at the grocery store when one of my old friends, Claire, spotted me. We hadn't seen each other in months. She leaned in and said, "Hey, weird question. Wasn't that Mark I saw near the Riverton Motel last week?" My stomach tightened so fast I felt dizzy. I forced a laugh. "Oh, must have been someone else." My voice shook. She gave me a look. That soft, pitying look, and I hated it. That night, I waited until Mark went to bed. When his breathing deepened, I crept to the living room and opened his laptop. Locked, of course. But on the corner of the keyboard, a tiny folded receipt. I unfolded it. Motel, 2 nights, paid in cash. My hands went cold. And then I saw timestamp. A night he claimed he was in meetings. Before I could even process it, I heard footsteps behind me. I swear, some discoveries don't explode. They just hum under your skin, quiet, poisonous, life-changing. And this one, it didn't scream. It whispered. It started on a random Thursday night while Mark was working late again. The kids were asleep. The house was too quiet. And something in me, some bone-deep, exhausted part, was just done feeling stupid. His laptop sat on the dining table. I walked past it, twice. Third time, I paused. My fingers hovered over the lid, shaking. A tiny voice whispered, "Don't do this. Don't become this person." But another voice, the one he'd been shrinking for years, whispered louder, "You already are." I opened it. The screen lit up without a password. That alone made my stomach twist. For a second, a flash of the old Mark hit me. The man who used to bring home late-night milkshakes. The man who laughed so hard he'd fall against the fridge. The man who once said, "You never have to doubt me." It stabbed harder because I missed that version of him, more than I wanted to admit. The laptop hummed, pulling me back. Emails, work files, spreadsheets, normal. Then a folder, tax papers. Mark hated taxes. No way this was normal. Inside were PDFs, statements, receipts, forms. But one file froze me completely. Account summary. Frost Hill Credit Union. A bank we'd never used. My chest tightened as I clicked. And then, $64,218.44. Everything in the room went muffled. Like someone stuffed cotton in my ears. My pulse thudded so loud I felt it in my teeth. I actually touched the screen, thinking it would change. The transaction list made it worse. Late-night transfers, weird notes, consult, gift, balance adjust, and then, hotel, reservation. I tasted metal, like I'd bitten my own fear. This wasn't secret money. This was a second life. And then it happened. A faint click. The cursor twitched, moved on its own. An email notification popped. Tomorrow night. Same place? A woman's name I didn't know. I clicked. Before it opened, the entire screen went black. Not a normal sleep mode. A forced lockout. Almost like someone shut it from somewhere else. Ice water filled my veins. He knew. He knew I saw something, and he was already reacting. The next morning felt wrong before I even opened my eyes. You know that heavy, sinking feeling? Like waking up underwater? Yeah, that. Mark was sitting on the edge of the bed already dressed, buttoned down, perfect hair, calm face, too calm. The kind of calm people put on right before they lie. He smiled at me, a slow, rehearsed smile that didn't touch his eyes. Sleep okay? My mouth went dry. I nodded, even though I barely slept a minute. Every time I drifted off, I saw that cursor move, that email notification, that black screen swallowing the truth. He tied his shoes, humming like he didn't have a secret bank account, or a secret woman, or a secret plan. That humming told me everything. He wasn't scared. He wasn't worried. He was in control, and he thought I didn't know a damn thing. When he left for work, if he even went to work, I checked the laptop again. Password protected now. New login screen. Not even a hint of the old access. Clean. Wiped. It felt like he'd erased the evidence and the old version of him in one move. The house felt smaller that day. Like the walls were listening. My phone buzzed. Mom texting pictures of the kids' school project. I replied with a smiley emoji, pretending my life wasn't quietly detonating. But something kept nagging me. The hotel reservation. The email. The secret account. I needed something concrete, something I could hold in my hands before he twisted the story and made me doubt myself again. That's when I remembered the drawer in his home office, the one he kept locked like it held nuclear codes. But today, it was slightly open, almost inviting. My heart hammered against my ribs as I approached. I kept hearing his voice in my head. "You're a grown woman, aren't you? Figure it out." Well, I was about to. Inside the drawer, at first, I saw nothing unusual. Old receipts, spare keys, a scratch watch he never wore. Then, a folder, unlabeled, thin. Too thin to be something innocent. I pulled it open, and there she was, a photo of a woman I'd never seen, smiling, standing in front of a hotel door, and behind a photo, a printed confirmation page with Mark's name on it. My stomach flipped, because the date wasn't last month, it was tomorrow. And then, behind me, the floorboard creaked. I froze. That creak behind me sliced straight down my spine. For a second, the whole room felt electrified, like the air itself was waiting to see if I'd survive. I turned slowly. Nothing. Just the empty hallway. Just my own dim heartbeat punching in my ears. But the feeling, that heavy, crawling sensation of being watched, it didn't fade. I slipped the photo and confirmation page back into the folder, hands shaking so hard I nearly bent the paper. I tucked everything exactly where it had been, mudged the drawer shut, and backed away like the room might explode. The woman's face wouldn't leave my mind. She looked normal. Not glamorous. Not some stereotype. Just a regular woman with a smile that didn't match the chaos she was about to walk into. And tomorrow? Tomorrow was the day he was supposed to meet her. I made myself breathe. Slow, steady, even though it felt like inhaling gravel. I needed a plan. I needed to be smart. One wrong move and Mark would twist this into some wild story where I was the crazy one. He loved calling me that. Crazy, dramatic, emotional, too sensitive. He used those words like a leash. I wasn't giving him anything to pull on. That evening when he came home, he walked in with his usual fake charm. Soft voice, polished smile, the whole "I'm a great husband" show he liked to put on when the kids were around. He kissed my cheek. I flinched. Just a tiny bit. Barely noticeable. But he noticed. He always noticed. His eyes flicked to mine, sharp, calculating, and for a moment we stood there like two strangers wearing wedding rings. "You okay?" he asked, lightly, tossing his keys into the bowl. "You seem off." Off? Yeah, that was one word for it. "I'm fine," I said, keeping my voice neutral, controlled. "Just tired." He studied me for a second too long, like he was trying to read the thoughts I was burying under my ribs. Then he smiled. Not warm, not real, just victorious, like he believed he still had the upper hand. After dinner, the kids went to bed, and Mark retreated to the living room with his laptop, his new laptop. The one I knew damn well he bought after the old one betrayed him. He angled the screen away from me. Typical. I sat on the couch across from him, pretending to scroll my phone, but I watched him from the corner of my eye. He was too calm, too normal. A man with a secret meeting tomorrow shouldn't look that peaceful. Unless the meeting wasn't for her. Unless the meeting was about me. As that thought hit me, Mark closed his laptop and said, "We need to talk. Tomorrow." My heart stopped. And we're not doing it here. Tomorrow? Not here? Those words didn't just unsettle me, they split me open. Mark never scheduled talks, he ambushed them. The fact that he'd chosen a place made the air in the room feel thinner. "It's important," he said lightly. "I booked somewhere neutral so we can reset." Neutral. That word hit differently because Mark once told me that neutral places were good for handling problems. He said it years ago, during a business call. I didn't think much of it then. Now, it felt like a warning wrapped in politeness. "Where?" I asked. "You'll see," he replied, smiling like a man who already knew the ending. I heard the kids laughing softly in their room down the hall, completely unaware that something dark was shifting under our roof. Their normal joy made the dread heavier, thicker. Mark went upstairs, humming under his breath. Too calm, too collected. He didn't look back, not once. Like tomorrow's outcome was already decided. The second he disappeared, I grabbed my phone with shaking fingers. Stephanie answered immediately. "Okay, what happened?" "He wants to meet somewhere tomorrow," I whispered. No, that's not right," she said quickly. "You can't go alone." "I don't have an option," I said, voice cracking. "If I back out, he'll know something's off. What is he planning?" I swallowed. "I found a photo today. And paperwork. He's meeting a woman tomorrow." A beat. A soft exhale. Stephanie recalibrated fast. "Then listen, share your location. Keep your phone on you. I'll be nearby. You're not walking into this alone, okay? Short, clean, focused, survival mode." We ended the call. I turned into the hallway, floorboard creaking under my foot like it shouted my secret. Mark was standing there, still, shadowed, like he'd been carved out of the darkness. "You on the phone?" he asked, voice too gentle. My throat tightened so abruptly it hurt. A single bead of sweat slid down my back. "Just my mom," I managed. His eyes flicked to my pocket. A quick, sharp glance. Then that tiny smirk, the kind that said he already knew I was lying. And worse, he was okay with it. "Good," he murmured. "You'll need support after tomorrow." He walked past me without a glance. Too calm, too sure. Like tomorrow wasn't a conversation. It was a verdict. The next morning felt wrong, the second I opened my eyes. Not bad day wrong, but the universe tapping me on the shoulder wrong. Mark was already up, already dressed, already downstairs. That man could barely wake up for school drop-off, but today, he was a damn sunrise. When I walked into the kitchen, he was standing at the counter, sipping coffee like some calm, reasonable husband. The sunlight hit his face just enough to make the smile look genuine. It wasn't. "You ready?" he asked. My stomach clenched. "For what exactly?" "You'll see," he said again, same tone as last night. Same eerie calm. The kids ran in, grabbing cereal, laughing, bumping into me, and I stood there, caught between two worlds. The normal life they thought we had, and the war zone I was walking into. I hugged them longer than usual. Mark noticed. His eyebrow lifted, amused. We got into his car. He didn't turn on music, didn't talk, didn't even check his phone. He just drove, straight-backed, silent, focused. The silence was suffocating. 20 minutes later, we pulled up to a parking lot. Just a quiet, empty parking lot behind an old office building. A neutral place. My pulse dropped into my shoes. "Why here?" I asked, voice thin. He said nothing at first. He just stared ahead, breathing evenly, the way someone does when they've already practiced the scene in their head. Finally, he turned to me. "You've been distant," he said calmly. "Secretive." The hypocrisy nearly choked me, and I think we both know why. My heart stuttered. Does he know I found the files? The deposit? The woman? What are you talking about? I whispered. He leaned forward slightly, his voice changing, lower, colder. You think I don't notice when things move in my office? When drawers aren't sitting the way I left them? When my laptop logs show attempts? My chest tightened so hard I thought I'd pass out. He knew. He didn't know everything, but he knew enough to be dangerous. You're hiding something, he continued, and I'm giving you one chance to tell me. The air felt razor sharp. My phone buzzed quietly in my pocket, Stephanie checking in. I pressed my thigh against it to muffle the sound. His eyes flicked downward. He heard it. Very slowly, Mark said, "Take your phone out." My blood iced over. The parking lot was empty. No one around. No witnesses. Let me see who you're talking to. His hand reached out, steady, confident, expecting obedience. And then, a car pulled into the far end of the lot. Mark's eyes snapped to it. His jaw tightened. This wasn't part of my plan, he muttered. I drove home on autopilot, knuckles locked on the steering wheel. And halfway down the street, that weird deja vu hit me again, the same cold ripple I felt the day I found the first camera. By the time I pulled into the driveway, the sky had bruised into that deep purple that makes everything feel a little haunted. Inside, the house was too quiet. My sister had already put the kids to bed. Thank God. I paused at their doorway. Their soft, tiny breaths floated through the dim room, and for a second, it almost broke me. They had no idea how close danger was, how close he was. I whispered, "I'm gonna keep you safe, whatever it takes." But even then, my voice didn't sound convincing. Then, a sound. Small, precise, mechanical. A soft click, coming from my bedroom. My breath hitched. I knew that sound. The night I found the first camera, it made the same one, right before the red light flickered on. I took one step down the hallway, and that's when I felt it, a shift in the air, like someone had just moved, or just stopped moving. I froze, then forced myself to keep going. My hand hovered over the light switch, but the room already had a faint glow. Not lamp glow, not hallway glow. A tiny red dot, blinking. My stomach clenched. Another camera, hidden behind the curtain rod, like he'd installed it with surgeon-level precision. But this time, I didn't rush. I stepped forward slowly, heart pounding so hard I felt it in my teeth. Every inch closer made the dread tighten. What if it wasn't just recording? What if it wasn't just watching? I climbed onto the chair and reached for it with shaking hands. When I finally pulled the device free, it was cold, too cold, like it hadn't been there long. Then I noticed it, the detail that made my skin crawl. No memory card, which meant only one thing. It was streaming, live, to him, right now. Watching me stand in the exact spot he wanted. My eyes stung with panic. My kids were just down the hall. What if he wasn't planning on tomorrow? What if tomorrow was just to buy time? My pocket buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times, all from him. I didn't open them, because behind me, a floorboard creaked. Slow, heavy, not a random house sound, a presence. The creak behind me didn't feel like a sound. It felt like a threat exhaling on the back of my neck. I didn't turn around right away. If it was Mark, I needed 1 second, just one, to think, my kids, my sister, the fact that he knew everything now. Then I heard it. Not footsteps, not breathing, a soft scrape, like a shoe shifting on hardwood. I spun around, nobody. But the hallway light flickered, as if someone had just walked past it. My pulse hammered so loud I could barely hear myself whisper, "Not tonight. God, not tonight." I backed toward the doorway, holding the tiny camera like a weapon. Every instinct screamed that he was inside the house, that he'd come early, that he'd ditch the neutral location and finish this here. But then, I remembered Stephanie's words. If he corners you, stall him. Buy time. We'll be right outside. My phone buzzed again, this time from Stephanie. I opened it. "We're here! Don't move!" I nearly broke down. I hurried through the hallway and down the stairs, every shadow feeling like it could swallow me whole. When I opened the front door, cold air slapped my face, and that's when I saw them. 2 police officers, Stephanie right behind them. a detective stepping forward with his badge already out. "Emma Williams?" he asked. I nodded, breath shaking. "We have a warrant to search your home and seize all surveillance devices connected to a Mr. Mark Williams. Your bank provided confirmation of financial fraud and identity manipulation. You're safe now. Step aside." I didn't realize I was sobbing until Stephanie grabbed my shoulders. Then everything happened fast. Officers inside, flashlights sweeping, radios crackling, and then, from the side gate, a shout. "He's running!" My heart cracked wide open. Mark burst into the driveway, sprinting like an animal cornered. But he didn't get far. 3 officers tackled him so hard the gravel sprayed. He thrashed, screaming, "This is my family! My money! She's mine!" I'll never forget the detective leaning down and whispering something to him. Low, calm, lethal. Not anymore. Mark's eyes found mine as they cuffed him. For the first time ever, he looked small, powerless, finished. And for the first time in years, I felt free. I clutched the little streaming camera in my hand and whispered, "Smile for the real audience, Mark. This time, you're the one being watched."